Well, as the UN tries to broker a peaceful solution to the Syrian crisis, Washington and its allies are still backing just one side of the conflict. The anti-Assad opposition expects even wider recognition and funding from the US-led, quote, Friends of Syria group. The UK has already vowed to extend material support to the rebels. Let's try and get some more details on this now from RT's Laura Smith, standing by in London. Joining us on the programme, Laura, so while the UN's trying to get the warring sides in Syria to sit down for talks, Britain is backing the insurgency. Why is that?
Well, it seems that this is the general consensus, that backing the insurgency is the thing to do. As you mentioned, the US is doing it too. This money that the UK has pledged amounts to $800,000, and it represents a doubling of the funding that's being given to the opposition. We're expecting other countries to follow suit, including the US, at a 71-nation meeting on Sunday, which, as you mentioned, it's a group that calls itself the Friends of Syria. This is the second meeting that they've had, and in fact it seems from their agenda that they are not in fact Friends of Syria, they are in fact Friends of the Syrian opposition. And the goals of the meeting that they're holding on Sunday include really focus on uniting this famously disparate opposition that we see in Syria, and whilst at the same time thinking up new measures to increase pressure on the regime. So it's a very one-sided strategy that they've got going on there, pressurising Assad on the one hand, helping out the opposition on the other, helping them to unite their forces. Kofi Annan has also said recently that he's looking at borrowing UN peacekeeping troops from various regions, from the Israel border, from Golan Heights that you were just talking about, and also from southern Lebanon, to try and enforce a peace that doesn't actually exist yet. The UN peacekeeping department also says that it might go to Damascus to try and put some sort of plan in place for enforcing some kind of peace. So Annan has this 6-point plan for peace, which involves a bilateral ceasefire, but so far nothing concrete on the table.
Laura, it's been now more than a week since the UN Security Council issued a statement appealing for a ceasefire in Syria. But is that being heeded? And if not, what can we then expect to see?
Well, quite the opposite, actually. We've seen in the last couple of days an upsurge in the amount of violence. Gunmen from the opposition are reported to have kidnapped a high-ranking military pilot and also assassinated 2 colonels from the army on Thursday. So that looks like the opposition is stepping up its attacks, in fact. There's a reported 43 people dead from violence just on Thursday. We are seeing a sort of concerted plan to implement this ceasefire, but that we seem to be in something of a standoff at the moment. The opposition says that it won't contemplate even negotiating on anything which would allow for Assad to stay in power. Meanwhile, Assad is very angry about this support that's being provided to the opposition from the international community. He says that countries have to stop providing money and weapons to the opposition immediately if this plan is to succeed. He's calling the opposition terrorists, of course. Kofi Annan himself has come out and said that the deadline for a ceasefire is now, and that the regime in Syria should, in a gesture of good faith, be the first to step down. Of course, in a bilateral ceasefire, it's very difficult to time those things. It's very unlikely that Assad will volunteer to be the first to step down. So we're really not any further forward. And if not, who knows what will happen? As we've seen, support for the opposition is increasing. All countries have said that they will stop short of arming the opposition. But if the situation develops any further, who knows?
All right, RT's Laura Smith there, live in London. Thanks very much.